Hey yeah, Oni here. Sorry for not really uploading anything. I did have a video recorded, but I kinda didn't really like editing it because it kinda felt like there was nothing to edit, if that makes sense. I want to upload videos that are fun and cool to me, and hopefully for you guys too. But anyways, I do have a small update about my life. Nothing really major, I would think, because I didn't really get that far into it. But I did enter a tournament. Now, it doesn't really sound like very big news, but to me, it is, since this is my first time ever really participating in a tournament, especially in one where we're competing with a whole bunch of other streamers. And coincidentally, I am one. The tournament I'm talking about is the RB Battles X Twitch tourney, which is also kind of labeled as a Roblox event. It is official, but for some reason, they didn't really announce it that well, so if you didn't hear about it or know about it, then that's understandable. Anyways, as I said earlier, it is a tournament where a bunch of streamers have to, well, stream a whole lot of Roblox for multiple weeks, while also having to battle in certain games to earn points and to be the quickest and the bestest. I think that's a word. Players or viewers were allowed to play alongside and also gain these badges as well with us. However, they didn't gain any of the points, but they only gained the badges to collect the UGC items that the event had. In total, there are 4 badges. However, it kinda will change it a bit later on, and I'll kinda explain why later. But with these 4 badges, these 4 games have actually participated in the event and made a special, unique sort of challenge just for that moment. So I guess I'm just here to talk about the badges, and alongside with that, just overall how I felt about the entire event. I'm basically just gonna be talking about some stuff that I liked or disliked from a participant point of view. So that does mean that I'm going to be ranking some of these badges based on how the games basically handled it. The only thing I won't be judging within this video is the main games themselves. I'm just gonna be judging the badge parts so that it's a little bit more fair, because I feel like overall just judging an entire game for that would just not really make much sense. But yeah, apologies if I upset people with my thoughts. That isn't really my intention. I only just want to, go ahead and do this video for fun and just to basically talk about something, because I do love yapping about some stupid stuff, I suppose. But yeah, the first game we're going to be reviewing is Fish. For those of you who don't know what this game is, it is a fishing simulator game, but without all the weird OP items, Robux scam sort of game passes. Well, it used to, but that was formed by stupid decisions brought to you by a really scummy company. It's an open world exploration game where you can go anywhere and explore different islands to get different type of fish and profit by selling them. Or you can just choose to fish for the love of it. Now for this, I do believe that Fish's badge out of the entire bunch of the games that participated within this event was by far the worst one. I do believe that this badge is not only unfun, but also extremely unfair for those who started playing for the first time during this event. I'll explain why in a moment. So for the first part of the quest, it wasn't really all that bad. I did have a candy cane rod and a slave boat that I got from the Winter Spotlight event, and getting the crabs were really easy since me and my viewers just spammed cages everywhere, which I apologize for because I think we covered up so much area that other people couldn't place down their traps, which is honestly just the pure definition of greed. But the other part of the quest is really not new user friendly due to the quest giving you major setbacks if you've never really played before. Now for the tourney, like I said earlier, you need to speedrun these badges to gain the most points. For example, if you were the top 15 streamers to get the badge quickly, you gain 100 points. However, this number would decrease over time the more people claim this badge, so it was literally just a race. Fish basically didn't give any new players any head start, meaning that they were forced to stay back in the main island while other streamers who have played the game before a major head start from everyone else. Same goes for the ducky as well. Since the first boat you get is super slow, it's hard to catch up to a whirlpool area to get the rubber ducky. Thankfully, I got lucky and had my previous stuff from the event. The second part of the quest is by far the worst time ever. You have to be inside of the streamer hideout and pray that you got the cloud carp. I was at a pretty good lead, and I'm assuming other streamers were too, but up until this point was just a run killer for a lot of people. What's worse is that you need a friend in order to get this badge, which thankfully I did have a viewer there to help me out, but I don't know why you'd need another player to fish in the area when sometimes people have to go and sell their fish and buy more baits to get the cloud carp. It makes those who were waiting around in the room to just have to wait a lot more just for a person to come in. Another thing that happened to me was a random admin event that was going on, which I don't remember which event it was, but it did have a purple filter. This event dragged me back by minutes because it forced all of my catches each time to get one specific fish, meaning that my chances of getting the clout carp dropped even lower than it needed to be. I get that it was meant to be fun, but it was just really unfortunate timing for me. As soon as I got the clout carp, I was relieved, honestly. But it then turned into just being underwhelmed because the last part of the quest was just kind of sad. Don't get me wrong, I love that we had an easy quest for the last part, but it kind of feels like a gut punch that once you get the fish, you just get rid of it instantly. I can't even like keep it as a souvenir. So yeah, kind of felt sad, but glad it was finally over. If I had to rate this badge from a 1 to 5, I probably would have to rate it a 2.5. Sorry. I'm assuming maybe the devs didn't hear about the full context of the event, since Roblox has a reputation of not telling any devs much about their events, proven from the Halloween Spotlight event. But this badge doesn't really have much overall, and it's just really unfair tournament-wise. But yeah, since that's all I have to say about fish, I guess we can move on to the next game. Now, the next game is 99 Nights in the Forest. 99 Nights in the Forest is a survival game where you have to venture outside of your camp to keep yourself and the fire alive, while trying to find missing kids that lie within the forest for some reason. And yeah, there's also like cults and also other like anomalies for some reason out there, which I don't know. Like, this is such a dangerous forest, by the way. In order to get this game's badge, you need to craft a radar in order to find the streamer's house. Once you find it, you have to complete a small checklist in order to start a stream. Collecting wolf hide, tame a wolf, and survive 101 days, which you can progress faster by saving kids within the forest. 99 Nights didn't really have much going on. It was pretty easy to get to the streamer's house and do the quests, but not really that great. The only thing you needed was a pretty good team, which thankfully I did have my viewers to help me out. The only thing I can really say about this badge is that if you join the game the moment the update released, there was a small chance that the game would soft lock itself if you tried doing the quest. For some reason, a random bug happened where the wolf hide just wouldn't count in the quest, which I'm assuming the little brick part that would count the wolf hide just didn't work for some reason or got deleted. We were kind of forced to restart in the end. But I'm not gonna really judge the badge for a glitch, as glitches tend to happen undetected sometimes, so I understand that it was probably just a mishap. I do know that sometimes QA testers and devs can just absolutely miss some really small bug, and it's unfortunate sometimes, but it's whatever. In the end, all the streamers got the same amount of points, which was 75 points. Even the ones who basically got the badge first, we all equally had the same amount of points for that event, so it basically worked out in the end. But yeah, if I had to rate it from a 1 to a 5, I think I'd go with a 3.5. The quest wasn't really that packed, but it was really easy and new user friendly, meaning that every streamer did have an equal head start, and also did require some skills and coordination to play and compete. So it's a solid speedrunning badge. But yeah, since that's all I have to say, let's move on to the next game. So the next game that participated within the tournament is Doors. Doors is a roguelite? Yeah, I know how to pronounce things. Doors is a roguelite horror game that involves, well, doors. Each floor consists of 100 doors, and you basically have to make it to the end to progress into the next floor. Though there are some spooky things kind of chasing you from time to time, so do keep that in mind. In order to get this badge, you have to travel through both the hotel and the mines, completing it without any revives, rifts, modifiers, saves, and lotuses. Doors was pretty okay. I do believe that it's a good speedrunning badge, since you do need to kind of strategize between either playing safely or pushing forward and taking risks. It was also fair, since long-term players couldn't use any lotuses, rift items, modifiers, or revives, or any saves, making every race fair. At the same time though, I do believe for new players joining for the first time have a harder time playing, since they probably don't know what entities do, but we were given a day for like a heads up in order to like practice and just overall understand how doors works, so I guess it was okay. For me, I was fine, since I played every single update and have every single badge, but it still doesn't excuse that the game encourages death, since it does tell you what you died to, and to basically just take every death as a lesson. So it's a pretty weird mixture, like a little 50-50 for me. This was also the least collected badge within the entire event, which yeah, that's fair. The event changed their badge conditions for the UGC from getting 4 badges to get it to 3 badges, which is pretty silly to me. But I do like it overall. It isn't really much, but a pretty solid speedrunning badge overall. But kinda wish that the devs made a vision for the event, since visions were recently introduced, but I'm assuming the devs didn't get much context or time to the event, so yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but still a solid badge. If I had to rate this badge from a 1 to 5, I'd give it a 4. But yeah, that's all for me for this badge, so let's move on to the last game. Now the last game is called Hypershot. Hypershot is an FPS shooter, and that's all I can really give for it, since it's basically just a shooter game. So yeah, the badge requirements are a little long, so I'm just gonna keep it simple. You have to get 400 kills, 30 sniper kills, steal 7 flags, place top 5 in gun games twice, get 20 melee kills, and collect 20 tokens off of dead bodies. Hypershot honestly isn't really that bad of a badge. It is pretty new user friendly and also a skillful badge as well, since you were forced to use default weapons, meaning that every streamer had a pretty fair head start. I don't really have much to say about this badge other than the one thing, which is the capture the flag game mode, which is honestly annoying. The game mode for some reason makes it so that whenever you die with the flag gets set back to the enemy spawn instantly instead of collecting it, which is kind of stupid in my opinion, because the enemy team can just spawn camp the flag every single time, so I had to constantly try over and over again to collect the stupid flag and deliver it back to our base, which eventually I did somehow, but still kind of a stupid mode. But yeah, nothing really much to talk about this badge, so I guess I would rate it a 4.5, only removing the 0.5 because of the game mode, but overall it's by far the most balanced and best badge out there out of the entire event, which is kind of hard for me to say since the badge does have some cringy brain rot guns, but I'm not gonna judge the badge for that. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. I honestly had a pretty nice time, not because of the event, well, kind of, but I mostly enjoyed it because I got to hang out with my chat. It wasn't really a good event. Oh, it was okay. I only had fun in the Hypershot Indoors one because it was just pretty simple badges, to be honest, and I feel like overall Fish could have just done a little bit better. Like, maybe they could have done like a badge similar to how they did the Winter Spotlight event. Like, I honestly personally enjoyed that badge because it basically forced a whole lot of people to use a specific rod in order to complete the quest. So I honestly think that's pretty good on its own, and I kind of wish that Fish would probably use that in the future again, but I don't really know how many people like that sort of idea as a badge, so I'm not gonna really say much about it because I feel like the community should rather just determine what badge that should basically just be on its own for any sort of event in the future. But for my first ever tourney, it was pretty alright. I even made it pretty far. I got 42nd place, and in order to qualify, I needed at least 32nd, which honestly, I'm kind of alright with that. I joined this tourney just to see how far I get into streaming, and also just to see how far I would get in terms of, battling other people. And I think I did pretty well. Definitely takes a whole lot of determination to go through all of this, because I had to ruin my sleep schedule and risk the chances of someone shouting my dead name in my household, so yeah. But yeah, pretty fun challenge. I'm glad I got to try something new at least, and it wasn't technically all for nothing, since I did give away some Twitch rewards to some people. I personally do like the Stevie drop myself because it's just an adorable little cat. I guess that's pretty much it from me. Again, I apologize if I really said something stupid here. I don't want to, be mean or just kind of like make anyone sort of feel like offended in any sort of way. But yeah, that's basically all that there is for this video. If you do like me yapping, or at least want to have some background noise while you do whatever the heck you're doing, then feel free to subscribe. It feels weird asking that. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully within the next video. Love y'all!